I'm Jason Fitzgerald, president of Penn Strategies, a statewide economic development and consulting firm. I used to be in the political campaign business, and also here on North Central PA Media, I am the host of Pennsylvania Now. We hope that you tune into that from time to time to see some great guests from really all throughout the country, but talking particularly about their focus in Pennsylvania. So a lot of folks are talking about the presidential debate, which will be occurring this evening, and sort of wondering what to expect and how to determine who will come out of this debate as the winner. Of course, presidential debates have been televised since 1960 in almost every presidential election since then. The one notable exception is, of course, was 1968. There was not a presidential debate, but there have been presidential and vice presidential debates more recently, ever since 1960 on television. These debates, in many instances, in several elections in the past, of course, 1960 was a great example, 1980, 1984, 1992. The results of these debates played a critical role in who won the election. All of the polls are trending, demonstrating that the race is tightening. This race will likely come down to the Rust Belt states, just as it did 4 years ago. So for Vice President Joe Biden tonight, we should be watching, first off, if you're supporting his campaign, probably what the vice president needs to do tonight to win is not demonstrate any moments of, appeared infirmity or agedness. He's going to want to look young and engaged and on top of the issues. And he will focus particularly, if successful, he will probably accuse President Trump and his administration of mishandling the COVID-19 situation. That seems to be a major issue on the campaign trail. Of course, the New York Times article that came out on Sunday, regardless of what you think about it, relative to the president's supposedly not paying much in federal income taxes. I wouldn't be surprised if Vice President Biden mentions that tonight in an effort to show that President Trump is fundamentally different from the people who make up his base and the people who will finally determine the outcome of this election, which are primarily blue-collar workers. President Trump will undoubtedly focus on Vice President Biden's 47-year record in Washington. If you look at the attacks that he has made on the campaign trail, he has pointed out repeatedly, as have various people who are speaking on his behalf, that Vice President Biden has a record in Washington over 47 years as both a vice president and a United States senator of voting for what the Trump campaign would call globalist types of issues. He's voted to support wars in the past, including the controversial Iraq War. He has voted for trade agreements such as NAFTA and CAFTA, and also was one of the architects in the Obama administration of the TPP agreement. President Trump will make the argument that all of these agreements that passed hurt Rust Belt states, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and will say that as president, what he has done is focused on trying to level the playing field with regard to trade with China. He renegotiated the North American Free Trade Agreement with Canada and Mexico. And he will say that Joe Biden is a part of what he refers to as the swamp. One of the things the president will have to be cautious about tonight is to make sure that that he comes across in a way that is presidential and is truthful. The Biden campaign will be looking to try and find inconsistencies in Mr. Trump's, President Trump's statements this evening, and they may make a big issue out of that. As far as who needs to win the debate, President Trump is behind in most polls, although the race is tightening. And if you look at the Electoral College makeup, Pennsylvania certainly is going to be one of the critical states. And there are some polls that I've seen in recent days showing that the race is as close as 2 points between Vice President Biden and President Trump. Both men will really be trying to speak to those blue-collar Rust Belt voters, including voters in Pennsylvania. Also, watch for references this evening to natural gas and to energy, and specific references to Pennsylvania. I think that Vice President Biden will certainly make an issue out of the fact that he's from the city of Scranton, that he's this sort of this scrappy kid from Scranton who understands the working class. President Trump will likely counter that by saying that that he has been an advocate for working people as president, particularly with regards to these trade agreements. It would be interesting to see in a traditional debate setting, there are people in the audience. I don't know whether or not we'll see that tonight, obviously, because of the COVID situation. This is very unique. But related to, how important are these debates? You hear a lot of people talking about how important they are. There certainly are presidential elections, as I said earlier, 1960 with Richard Nixon and John Kennedy, 1980, Jimmy Carter and Ronald Reagan. That was a race in 1980 and in 1960 that was extremely close. Of course, in 1960, President Kennedy won, then Senator Kennedy won by a small margin. 1980, everybody thought it was going to be a close race. It ended up being a landslide win for Ronald Reagan. But at the time of the debate, and really even before the election, there was talk that it was going to be very close. So people do watch these debates. There have been throughout the course of history big moments that have changed the course of a campaign. If you are Joe Biden's advisors tonight, you're advising him to simply put in a solid performance where he looks awake and alert. And if he can come out of this debate with a draw, in other words, looking like he and the president were on fairly even ground, that would probably be considered a win for the Biden campaign. The Trump campaign has been saying and has said as recently as today that they're eager for these debates. They believe that President Trump will handily defeat Joe Biden on the debate stage tonight. And so they say that they're very excited for this. So we certainly will watch with a great deal of intensity this evening. And we will provide you with some commentary on what our thoughts were after the debate at some point, and let you know if any of the things that we predicted would happen here today did happen. But again, I think that really the critical issues that will be discussed in this debate are going to be related to winning those Rust Belt states. So they're going to be work and wages issues. Joe Biden will talk about his support by organized labor. President Trump will counter that with saying that during the 47 years that Joe Biden has spent in Washington, in very many instances, in the president's opinion, Mr. Biden voted against the interest of working people and for what the president would call the swamp. So that's about all I have to say about the debates tonight. They should be very interesting, undoubtedly very different from any other presidential debate in history, and a very exciting watch for this evening. So appreciate the opportunity to provide you with a little bit of a preview on the debate tonight, and we look forward to chatting with you after the debate. And also remember, continue to get all of your news from North Central PA Media, and check out our next Pennsylvania Now, which will be running later this week, and we'll have some exciting topics to discuss. So until next time, I'm Jason Fitzgerald from Penn Strategies and Pennsylvania Now. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and enjoy the debate this evening.